the record button? Okay, good. So just forget all that stuff I just said, and thanks for coming to training tonight. And first, we've got some housekeeping things we need to take care of, and we need everybody's kind of attention on. So I'm gonna turn it over to Naomi, and she's gonna run through a few things first. Okay, Naomi.
Okay. Wanted to talk about the grants. Right now, we're collecting bank statements and getting people qualified. So just a reminder for first of all, the global grant pledge is due November 1st. So if you are working with your board on looking at what global grants are available and seeing which ones your club would like to put your money towards, go to the district website under foundation, go to the global grants, and all of the available grants are listed there. And so there's, Mark is going to be sending out a pledge form, and you can tell Mark which one you're going to put your allocation towards. And if you don't know how much your allocation is, there is a spreadsheet for how much you have allocated from district designated funds, and your club needs to match that with club cash. Okay. So if you're not going to use it, please let Mark know as well. Okay, so that's number one. Right now, we're trying to get the grant money to the clubs. So in order to get the grant money in your account, we need to see that your matching dollars are in the grant account. So just remember when you signed, when the president signed last year, the forms, it says that the club is going to have a grant account. The club is going to have a grant account, not the club's foundation, right? And so your grant account should be a separate account, and it needs to say grant account or TRF account or something that says that that is a dedicated grant account. Okay, and everything needs to go through that account. So all of the disbursements, the deposits need to go through that grant account. Okay, so the bank statement is what we need. We need to see that the matching funds are in there, and then Dave Hamill will deposit the money to your account. So if you have not sent that in, please work with the treasurer, whoever can get that statement to us. We'd like to get the money to you so you can start using it for your grants. Okay, so for the qualifications for next year, we want everybody qualified by January 31st. So what does that mean? That means the PE and the PN are signing those documents, the 3 documents, right? And if you don't have a PN elected in December, then it's going to be the current president or foundation person. But we need those things signed. And to qualify, one of the things, there's several things you need to qualify. We talked about this last time, right? And one was to have 2 people attend the training. We still have people who don't have, we still have clubs who don't have the 2 people that attended. So what we're going to do is Mark is going to send out an email to the clubs that still need to qualify for that training. The way to qualify is to review the recording of the webinar, and then we have a quiz that people need to take. So watch out for that way to make up. But we'd like everybody qualified by January 31st. Okay, Benson, back to you.
Wow. Okay, that's it. All right, cool. So next month, can anybody tell me what next month is in the Rotary world? It's November.
Foundation month.
Foundation month.
Very good. Excellent. Hey, Dave, you can have an extra glass of wine for that. Okay, it's Foundation month. So just by a show of hands, does your club have something planned for Foundation month? I mean, a presentation of some kind, or something. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So if your club does not have something planned, and you would like to do something as the club trainer to present something or help your foundation chair, should be the one doing something for Foundation month. Would you guys, or could you use a a presentation, because Naomi and I could put together a brief presentation about for Foundation Month. It just talks about some of the basic things about foundation and why you should give money to the foundation. We can put something together. So who would like to have that? Show of hands. If you would like to have something, Naomi and I can put something together and send it over to you. If you don't have anything, okay, for Foundation Month. Okay. All right. So one of the key things that I want to bring up tonight is that next month is the Foundation Month, is Foundation Month in our Rotary year, and that we as the district and Rotary International as a huge organization has lots of resources. And, you know, if we give Mark Harbison enough time, he could probably put down in the chat all the resources that are available for Foundation Month, because he's been doing it a long time. But this is the month where we give information to our club members. And this is the month where we promote the why is it important for us to contribute money into the foundation. And then the other thing is, then once you get over the why, like, okay, this is why it's important, and then how to give money to the foundation and how easy it is. And the people that have been giving money to the foundation for years, they just put a little bit, a small amount every month on their credit card, and it just goes over year after year after year. I tell the story of one of our club members who's been a Rotarian for, I think, like 12 or 13 years. And he just, when he got to be a Rotarian, just put a small amount on his credit card every month, and it goes in. I don't know what the amount was. But anyway, this year he's going to hit major donor, $10,000. Okay, and just because, I mean, he was given some amount, he didn't even know what it was. But when I told him, hey, you're going to be a major donor this year, it's like shocked. Okay, so stories like that can happen. That money, I know for me personally, I mean, I'm asked to put money out or to donate money to all kinds of things, especially locally. I'm a little less apt to, you know, write a check or give money to some gigantic thing that's, you know, in another part of the world or in the mainland. However, Rotary, because of what they do and how they're able to spread their money around the world into really great causes that benefit Rotary, is a really great place to put your money. So that's thing number one I wanted to go for with you. What I'd like to do now is kind of open the floor. We're putting together the curriculum for our spring seminars, right? So the training that we're going to do it's primarily all the incoming people. And so does anybody want to give any feedback about some of the things that, you know, besides the basic things that we're going to have training for secretaries, for treasurers, you know, the president-elects are going through their own training right now. Does anybody have any feedback or like to suggest anything that they would like to see in our spring trainings? If you don't want to shout it out, you can put it in the chat. Anything that will be helpful to you or your club members. Anything? Anyone? Okay. That's an ongoing thing. You guys can kind of work on that. And if you come up with something, because like I said, we're trying to put things together now that would be helpful to the clubs. All right. So if you have something, put it in the chats. We're gonna go into breakout groups in a second or in a minute, and we're going to talk about basically succession planning and leadership development. So one of the things that we've been trying to work on in clubs for the last couple of years is to develop a succession plan. And a succession plan is really about the development of leadership within your club. Okay, so lots of people do it different ways. Actually, before we do that, Naomi, can you just kind of review one more time the whole elections process that should be taking place in your clubs? It should have like started this month, and we'll finish up here actually in the next couple of months. So why don't you cover that right now before we go into breakouts?
Okay. Um, okay, so your documents, your constitution bylaws say that you're gonna have an annual meeting in December by December 31st. So first thing is plan that when you're gonna have that, because some clubs don't have too many meetings in December. Yeah, we play. So plan for your annual meeting, and that's where the treasurer's going to make a treasurer's report. That's where you're going to have your election. You're electing your board for July, starting July. But your president should already be elected, right? Your current PE is the president, already elected. So you're going to elect a president for 18 months from then. Okay, so to get that slate up together in November, 30 days before your meeting, you're going to have an announcement. Everybody, we're going to have an election. And so ask them, does anybody want to put their name in? But before that, right now in October, it would be a good idea to convene a nominating committee. So the nominating committee could be the president-elect, and he has club members, elders, or it could be the last 4 past presidents, or it could be people who volunteer for the nominating committee. And this is where you put the slate. Who's the best person to be in these positions? Who's in the position that's going to carry on, or who you need to change out to get new people? But also getting the board together on who you need to have on your board. What do you need? What skills do you need? And that's where this succession planning, developing leaders, maybe somebody's not ready now, but you can get them ready for maybe next year or the following year. Or maybe they don't want to be president, but they would be willing to help with committees or projects for your club. Okay, Benson?
Okay, that's great. Okay, so when we go into we're going to go into breakout rooms. I got 5 groups set up, and your topic tonight is really to talk about how can we do succession planning in our club. What can we do to develop leaders? How do we identify people that have leadership capability? How do we ask people to be to be part of the leadership line in the club? So basically engaging people to do leadership within the club. Now this year, when we had our new group of PEs that are getting trained right now, we're really actually pretty far ahead of the ball game in terms of establishing a PE for every club. And in a lot of years before, it's been like pulling teeth trying to figure out who's going to be the next president of the club. But if we're able to do succession planning, then we can have that all set up. I know our club is set up for like 5 years out. So it is possible to do that. So that's your subject. We give you a few minutes to talk about that. Come back in and then get a reporter for each group, and then we'll come back, share with the group, and talk a little bit more about it. Then we have a few other things we need to go over tonight. Okay, that's pretty clear. All right. Okay, we'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, here we go.
Hi, Diana, you called today.
I did call.
Okay, if you don't end up in a room, then stay here and I can put you in a room afterwards. Let's see. Okay, Sharon. Did you see something show up on your thing about what room you're going to go in, but you don't want to go? Are you going to go? No. Yeah, okay. Let's see.
I just want to say to Virginia, who seems to have found herself in a situation where presidents in the club that she was in tended to fall under some type of a curse and something happened to them. But when I see how beautiful she is tonight, while I am sorry that you were diagnosed with what you were when you became president, I'm hopeful that it was because of your Rotary experience that you came through it so beautifully. and look as well as you do tonight. So I just want to say God bless you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Mahalo.
Sandy.
Thank you.
I couldn't cut you off in the middle of that one, Sandy.
Great. Well, thanks, Sandy. Well, since you're talking, Sandy, why don't we start with your group, since Virginia's in your group, and what did you guys come up with that you could share with the rest of the group?
Well, I'm going to turn it over to none other than the David Mausdrin.
Dave, my man.
Yeah, well, the wine hasn't affected me yet, so I guess I can go ahead and start it.
Yeah. Yet's the operative word.
That's the
Go for it.
operative word. We were talking about, what's the process of the clubs, different clubs, and going ahead and inviting somebody to be a president, and how deep do they think they should go? And some said, well, we didn't have the luxury of time because we were a new club, and so they had to basically just jump in right away, and everybody had to get their feet wet. Others, we gave kind of the value statement of it might be easier to try to get people to become a president when they know that they're not going to be a president for another 3 years. So if you plan it deeper out, it gives a lot more comfort to the person that's saying, hey, I've got 3 years to plan. That gives me enough time to really think about it and to work on it and make sure that I'm doing it right. And so one of the things I encouraged was that everybody try to go at least 3 deep, the president, and then 3 that are looking at coming in board, because it does make it a lot easier than trying to find a president that's going to be taking over the next year. So if you haven't found your next year president, it's really hard to get somebody to join if you're trying to get them for next year. But getting them for 3 years out, that's not as hard. And it also shows you planned for it, and you're going to give them that same amount of help in planning their year as you did selecting them for that position. That's all. That's all we took.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Any comments on that? So is anybody in a club that has a co-president, 2 presidents in a year? Anybody have that situation?
No.
Nalani. Okay, yeah, Nalani, that's right. You guys have that situation. So you want to comment on that? I mean, how did your club decide to come to that? And is it working? Do people like that? Does it work better for you guys?
Well, if somebody didn't step up, we would not be a club. So we were forced to make that decision. And Carl, who was president, came to me and said, Nalani, no one wants to be a PE. And that meant he would have to take the job again. So this is what I suggested. You go out to the past presidents and you get 4, and then have him take each quarter. We started out okay. We got our 4. That year, December, 1 dropped. So we were down to 3. February, the second one dropped. So now we're down to 2. So Carl came back again. Nalani, this is where we are. What are we gonna do? So I said, all right, this is what we'll do. I'll do 4 months. Rocky Naioli will do 4 months, and then I'll bring it home at the end. And that's the way we settled it.
Okay. All right. Well, but it's working for you guys, right?
Yep, right now it is. But now, we're looking down the road. Not now. What's after the RPE, the next person?
Right.
Trying to encourage people to step up.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe this is an obvious question, but who's got a theory on why people don't want to be president? Or who's got a thought about, like, so why? Because Rotary promotes club president is the best job in Rotary. I mean, you go to like Zone Pets, anywhere you go, the convention, people will say, hey, best job in Rotary is president. So if it is the best job, in Rotary, so why don't people want to do it? So Sean, I see you got your hand up, so go for it, bro.
Sure. Thanks, Benson. I think we don't do a good job of showing it. Well, I think there's a couple of things. One would be we don't do a good job of promoting it as a good deal, and as we don't always sell it. It's sometimes we have a tendency to not think of newer members taking on, or younger members taking on those positions because, oh, they're not as established, oh, they haven't been in the club as long or whatever. So it's kind of one of these things that seems like it's not either for somebody or it's for somebody else sometimes. Meaning like, oh, well, there's the inside crew that knows everybody, or the board that kind of decides, or because like we don't really do big elections in my club. Like I was saying, there's sort of a dark cabal. You get leapt upon by the old board, and we get you to agree. So I think clubs could do a better job of making it something like, hey, if you're interested in being president, in this coming year, you need to get your name on the list, and we're going to have an election. And because I know our club's not very good at doing that, and that's a good thing because it makes it more prestigious. It's something you're trying to get versus the club is doomed if you don't do this. You know what I mean? It comes with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that would be my 2 cents on it. And sell it to your younger members as a thing they can tell their employer. Like I'm getting management experience. I'm getting leadership experience by running this club and running the fundraiser or running the whatever. And that's helpful. So anyway.
Yeah. Thanks, John. So Dave Masrin, what's your thought?
I was going to say the same thing, that we are dealing with a situation that we do a bad job of selling it. One of the things that presidents are always guilty of is saying, oh, only 3 more months left. I can't wait. I can't wait. And all they're doing is really, really enforcing the negatives on the job.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that that's almost a finable offense for a president to say, I can't wait for this to be over with. Because all of the presidents that I've talked to have said that every year that they've been president, it's been the best year of their life, that in Rotary. And everybody had said that I wish I could do it for another year. And so most of us say it as a joke, but that joke is heard by others as, oh, this is too much work, and this isn't any fun, and this is like herding cats. I don't want to do it. Yeah. And I think we've got to stop the stinking thinking, as Zig Ziglar would say, and get people to understand that it's great. And I don't know about your clubs, but some clubs do the rewards of sending you to international and sending you to, obviously, to pets. And I think all of those are bennies that should be expressed about the wonderful aspects of a road to the goose skin or the chicken skin effect of going to an international conference and then running your first presidency if you do it that way. Anyway.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Good one. So, Rich Proctor, what's your thought?
Yeah, and there are many people in our club who have managerial experience and know how to run organizations one way or another, but they don't have a lot of experience in front of a room. And it's the public speaking aspect of it that is a little intimidating. And the organization of the meeting itself and the commitment that is coming along with all of that. The time commitment is significant as I experienced, but I also expressed, and I had this conversation with someone we're interested in having as being our president nominee, and said, as what Dave said, it was a really great year of my life, and I'm so happy I got the opportunity to do it. It's hard to convey that message. And if there's some shyness or reluctance to stand in front of the room and be entertaining or engaging and that sort of thing, there's some hesitancy there. So there's something we can do, and I understand why we're now partnering with
Toastmasters.
Toastmasters, because that really would help.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, Rich, appreciate that input. So, okay, let's go back to the group. So, Gwen, you guys were in room 1. Who's reporting for you guys?
That would be me.
Okay, go for it.
So, a lot was said there. I want to dovetail a little bit on what Dave had said. I do think that it's a finable offense when a president is actually talking about the fact that they can't wait till that day comes. I think that kind of doesn't bode well with some of the other people. I apologize for the sirens in the background. But what we talked about as far as developing new leaders, we talked a little bit about mentors, having a great mentor or having mentors in the group. And I promise that siren's going to die in a minute.
Yeah.
But
Somebody
Mm.
is, right? Okay,
so,
go for it.
you know, and we've talked about maybe the president-elect is one of the, well, in some of the clubs, the president-elect is one of the newest members. I know that Nelani was saying that, and one comment that I made was I've seen Honolulu Sunset really kind of make that super successful, where some of their newest members become the PE and then go on to be the club president. And I think that brings in a kind of a new regime of people or some new guests. But I think all around it's trying to get some of the legacy people, some of the people that have been in Rotary for a long period of time to kind of come around and help out quite a bit, whether that means being a mentor, but really just being positive. And yeah, I really like what Dave had said about, you know, that being a finable offense, because I too often see that or hear that just from even in my visits to different clubs and even in my own club.
Okay. Yeah, that's super important. I know in our club when I was president, I was trying to establish a leadership line. The pushback that I was getting was, I don't want to do this thing. You know, if I'm going to be the club president, I want to have to do all this thing by myself. So once somebody told me that, then we went to the board, our board, and we got together with the people in our club and said, okay, we're going to try to build some systems in here so you can be supportive, where you got somebody to run your AV and somebody, all your committee chairs or whatever, so you could have some help. And I think that was able to be helpful in helping people to come to this decision that hey, maybe being president isn't so bad. Alan Kamemoto, what did you guys talk about in your group?
Well, Rich kind of explained most of the things, but one of the things that I think a lot of us came up with is that if you get a good, strong board, then it becomes real easy for the president, because the president then becomes just a program. He just runs the program. So that's, I think, as club trainers too, we really got to work on really making our board smart, and so that the president can just run with it. So I think that was a key. I thought that was a great takeaway for me.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And that's why the last couple of years, especially this year, we're really focusing a lot on board training. The 2nd of October, we had an awesome board training where, people were really engaged. The board got really, the people that were there representing the boards got really excited about, wow, we're not just going to be sitting in a seat at a meeting. We're actually going to be participating, and we have a role, and we could actually make a difference in the club. So cool. So that thanks a lot, Alan. That's a big takeaway. Is the heightened involvement of the board will make a difference, not just in helping to recruit a leadership line, really in everything that your club does. Is if you find an engaged board, typically you'll find an engaged club. Okay, so Bev Heikes, your group was group 5. What did you guys talk about?
Hey, Vincent, thanks for calling on me personally there.
Yeah. Well, I like you. You're a hero. I gotta let hero represent, right? Go for it.
I wasn't expecting that because I'm not the club trainer. I'm just representing my club tonight because I got an email from Naomi saying somebody needs to do so.
I knew you were, but I wanted to hear from you. Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about quite a few things, but I think one thing that I can recall is that for my club, we do not have a nominating committee. I was telling them that we do have a system I feel is like a king maker or queen maker, but not really a nominating committee. And the PE responsibility is to to recruit positions on the board. So I was saying, I think it's great to start maybe looking into having a nominating committee, someone who's doing research, who's maybe interviewing or just doing the work that the PE normally has to do. With our club is get that board filled by December 31st. So that's, by the December meeting. So that was one thing that stood out with me. A nominating committee would be helpful. not kingmakers and queen makers, but that's
Yeah.
kind of how we operate right now. So, yeah. Okay. And there was other points made too. And like I didn't think I would be the one speaking, so I didn't retain a lot of that. But Sharon, if you guys want to jump in and speak about that, that's great. And I'll stop now. Thank you, Benson.
Yeah. No, I wanted to wait. Hang on, Bev. I wanted to ask you. Because you came up, through your sort of leadership line, and so I was interested in how you got to that position where was there a nominating committee, or did somebody approach you and say, "Hey, Bev, you want to be club president?" Or
Okay, yes. I've been with my club almost 5 years, like about 4.5 years. And so when I became a member, I got involved right away. Somehow I was on membership, and then I was over our reading program because that was my work. And then I found myself being youth service director. But I had people along the way telling me that I should be president. And if I could just share one thing, and I know Nalani probably don't remember this, but I got to speak at a club, and she was there as a new district governor. And I heard her tell Randy Hart after I finished that she should be president. That's her president. So that stayed in my mind too. And I'm sharing that. I've never shared that with anyone, and she may not remember that, but she was a queen maker that day. And so that's kind of how it started rolling. People were telling me I should be president. So thank you, Nalani.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Good one.
Okay.
So, hey, I just want to tell you guys, in case you didn't know this, but, for a few years, Bev and I worked together in Ryla, on Hawaii Island, Ryla. And I got to tell you, Bev spins a mean DJ, man.
Oh.
So it's wicked. Like all of this music that she was playing, all the instructors were all like, wow, you can really jam to that. So if you need a DJ, Bev Hikus is your girl.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
Benson.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, so last group, Lynn Goya, what happened in your group?
Mary Ann is going to report.
Oh, great. Go for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we talked about either in our club, we have our board helps our PE with who he or she would like, to fill the positions. We give him or her recommendations. And it just so happened that our PE, she and I had a 3-hour coffee session last weekend. And we went over everybody in the club. We talked about strengths, weaknesses, the ones who had been president already. Okay, we sort of put them to the side. The ones who hadn't been president, had they been on the board, had they been committee chair or whatever. And at the end, she came up with 4 names of people that she can approach. And, what I probably will suggest to her is hit every single one of them so that we have that 3-year succession. If there are 4 possibilities, hit all of them. And if one says, oh, I don't want to do it next year, then say, oh, how about 2 years from now then? But just keep them, give them that option. All right, not next year, but 2 years from now, or even 3 years from now. And then as far as leadership development, oh my God, Naomi and Benson, you guys have put together such an extensive training program. There's no way anybody can say, oh, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. There's training for everything, even basic Rotary. There's really no reason why a potential president will say, oh, I don't know, even public speaking. You could have something on public speaking or just management organization of how to prepare for the Rotary meeting. There's so much training that you folks offer. There's just no reason why someone would say, oh, I don't know how to do that.
Well, thanks for that, Marianne. That's a great compliment. And part of the reason why we're doing all of this is to really develop support systems, because my feeling is that we don't have a leadership problem. I think we have a public image problem, and exactly what the stuff that Rich and Dave was saying is that we haven't been portraying the club president as really a great thing. It's really, man, this is going to be a wonderful experience. So Lynn put a question in the chat. So what if somebody says, I don't have the time to do it, right? And actually, nobody has the time to do it, and that's a really common, I don't call it excuse, but that's, people say that a lot, and in some cases, people don't have the time. All right. So when I hear I don't have the time to do it, when somebody tells me that, they're thinking that they're going to have to do it all. And that's why I don't have the time to do it, because they can't be the treasurer, the secretary, run the meetings, run the projector, line up the speakers, put the flag up. They can't do all of that. So I think the developing systems within your club, support systems. And once again, we come back to the board. If you have a young person, I got Kat Reberg in our club. She's like 33, 34 years old, all right? And she's the PE now. And the reason that she's the PE is I, and along with the rest of our board, convinced her that she would have all the support that she needs. And even though she's a busy person, she will be able to function and do a really great job. Of course, because she's a young person, this would be great leadership development for her. It'd look good on her resume, all the advantages. So I see your, when Naomi's unmuted, that means she's getting ready to talk. So I'm gonna let her add something to that. Go ahead, Naomi.
The question about don't have time or too much work, I think that's where the club trainer comes on. Club trainers are really important for the success of the club. You guys can pull things together and be problem solvers. Rotarians are problem solvers, right? So take a look at the problem, okay? If someone is saying it's too much work, how can the board divvy up the work? How can you make things different and adapt to the situation? How can you find a solution? If that person is the one who has the skill that you need, then find a way that it can work. Okay, but the club trainer takes a look at what's going on with the board and see how we need to train the board. What is your weakness on the board, and find solutions to that problem. And maybe it's going to be that you got to do things differently. But we really feel that you guys in the club as a club trainer are really important to help with the training, seeing right there, you guys got the boots on the ground, you know what's going on in your club. So what is it that you need for training? What is it you need for help from the district? How can we help you? How can we find resources for you? Okay, so you guys, club trainers are really important, and to help the president, make that president look good because you're spreading out the word, you're helping, you got the president's back, you're the Alan with the co-pilot, that is the club trainer. So, thank you for being here. You guys are really, really important. And we're going to help you be the most important person in the most knowledgeable with the Rotary IQ in your club. And that's why we need to know from you, what is it on the spring training that you need? What kind of sessions? How can we change the sessions so that they're more meaningful for your club members and your board, especially your board? So please let us know how it is that how we can help.
You said something there, Naomi, that sort of keyed in with me. You said Rotary IQ. That's an extremely important term, right? It's like social IQ or whatever. Rotary IQ. You should make pins with that on it, with T-shirts.
Okay, Benson.
Yeah, Benson.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. Okay, so last question of the day for discussion, right? So let's throw this out. So your president-elect is already started, they're like a couple of months into training. What does your president-elect need? Or I don't know if you've been following it very much, or what kind of support do they need? I mean, how are they doing? Mariko, let's start with you. How's your president, your club president-elect doing? You can unmute.
Okay, so the president-elect, I think the early training that started a few months ago was a very good one. That she is, well, although she was delayed a bit because she couldn't get into this Rotary what do you call it, account, but I think that really makes a good pace. It doesn't, not everything comes all at once, right before the pets. So I think it's a good paced training, and culminating to the pets.
Good. Okay. Eva, how about your president-elect? How's your president-elect doing? What do you think a president-elect needs to be successful? What's your thought, Eva?
Thank you, Benson. They need education and also experience. They have to know all Rotary Cup of the rules, educations, because you represent the club. So that's why you have to, every word from your mouth to speak out is very important. So the training is important also. So you have to learn how our club is, the whole Rotary Cup is, the mission, the encourage, education, experience is very important.
Thank you, Eva.
You're welcome. Thank you, Benson.
Yeah. Linda, how about you? How's your president-elect doing? And what do you think they need in terms of support or any training from us?
Well, I think Barry is well qualified in Rotary, and he is our director of volunteer services. And so I think he knows a lot more about Rotary than I do. So I think he'll do just fine.
Okay. All right, Linda, thanks. Anybody else want to put their 2 cents in before we wind up for the evening? How about, let's see, whoever we heard from, Calvin Hara, how's your president-elect doing? Is there anything that you think we could do to help them?
Yeah, so the other day at our board meeting, I'm on the board this year, she is the youngest member in our club. I brought her in a couple of years ago. A lot of enthusiasm, loves service projects. And so I think the board, which is comprised of almost all past presidents, we don't have one after her lined up, but we have one 2 years from now. So I think, in the last 4 years, we've had club presidents who were the youngest in the club. And I think that's just kind of part of the culture of our club has really helped, as you were saying earlier about, if you're just in the start of your career, to have time to develop leadership skills outside of your job, which is great.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, it's just about the witching hour now. So a couple of last points, right? So club trainer position, the reason why it's so important is you're the continuity piece for our entire district and especially for your club. So every year we can have a different president, right? But if there's no continuity that goes from year to year, then it's really difficult because at the beginning of the year, of course, you start all over again, right? So here's our sort of a main takeaway for tonight. So as a club trainer, it's 2 things, yeah? It's resources and opportunities, right? So point your club members to the resources and the opportunities there are for them to get training, to learn more, to increase their Rotary IQ, to develop their leadership skills, to develop their board skills. What we're trying to do in the overall picture of of our district training is to develop that in all phases of where we are in Rotary and as a club. So let's see. Tonight, I'm going to give the last word to Sandy Matsui. So Sandy, you got the last aloha no for everybody. Go for it. Since you got the
Aloha.
volcano behind you, may as well.
I
right?
know, right? I know. I love that. I love that. But aloha, I think I think it's about aloha. I think it's about our theme this year as well, right? To serve with aloha. And sometimes we focus a lot on the individual. What does the president, what does the president-elect need to do? When really, if we shift that perspective, what do we need to do to strengthen our leadership? How can we be there to show our aloha and support with the skills and talents that we have to surround them with? So, you know what? It's all about teamwork. So I thank you everyone for being here. It's terrific. And I think what Benson and Naomi are saying is absolutely correct. You as district trainers are the key. You're the backbone to the continuity of what we're doing. And so with that, I'd say aloha and
Okay.
everyone.
Thanks a lot for coming, everybody. Thanks for spending an hour with us. It's happy hour. Okay,
Here we
Dave,
are.
you can go for
Bye.
it.
Thanks,
Thank
unmuted.
you.
Thank you.
Aloha, everybody.
Bye.
Aloha kako.
I started an hour ago, Benson.
Oh, I know. I'm only kidding when I say go for it, Dave, because I know you've been going for it. So no need to worry about that.
I don't want you guys to think though that I've just had the bottle open constantly.
Oh,
I break it open just to be able to go into this meeting.